So, two of my life's mantras are do the work and get uncomfortable. And a couple of years ago, I really started giving my years a theme. And so, like how everybody would go around talking about New Year's resolutions, I really started by giving my year's themes. And so, one year, the theme was do the work because that was just the stage that I was at life. I was just grinding every day trying to build my business. And, I have never been one to shy away from doing the work. And I said, you know what? I know for me to get to this next level in my business and in my life, I have to do the work. Right. And so that became a reoccurring theme. And it's crazy because I actually got like t-shirts and hoodies. I actually did a photo shoot. And, but it's because like this is something that was super important. And then the next year or another year, I came up with get uncomfortable. And it's so crazy because so often we hear that, true growth happens outside of your comfort zone and you got to get comfortable with the idea of being uncomfortable. And I know personally that I have experienced tremendous growth on the other side of extreme discomfort. And so once I realized that was a thing, like it was a constant reminder and this became my theme for the year. But, these two particular themes, and I've had others throughout, but these two particular themes really became more than just themes or things that I said. They really became entwined with how I actually approach life and business. And so that's the significance of those two sayings, do the work and get uncomfortable out of me. Now, for years, I have played around the idea of getting a tattoo, but I just never had anything that, I guess, significant to me that I wanted to get. And I remember for years, I played around the idea of getting this mural type thing on my back where it was a tree and a bear and an eagle. And that was supposed to represent freedom, strength, and prosperity, right? And needless to say, that didn't happen. But earlier this year, I was actually in Colombia and I went over there for another reason, but I had some downtime and I was playing around with the idea of getting these two tattoos for a while. And I had actually a couple of months prior, or maybe the year before, I had actually said I was going to get it on a trip in Miami, but that didn't happen. And so, of course, everybody who my team, my wife, they all have tattoos, and they're like, "Yeah, Ethan, you just full of it. You aren't going to get this tattoo." And so I had some downtime in Colombia, so I was just like, let me see if I could find a tattoo parlor. And so Dekel and I went to get my tattoo, and literally, it was because I felt that they had become so ingrained into my identity that I wanted to get it. And so even thinking about placement, I put them both on my forearms, right? So I have one here and then one here. But I put them there because literally, I can look down and I can see, do the work. And I'll tell you something that's really cool too. Whenever I'm doing bicep curls in the gym, it's literally get uncomfortable, do the work, get uncomfortable, do the work. And so it's just a constant reminder of something that I use as a motivating factor to get me through and a reminder because you aren't going to be successful unless you are prepared to do the work. And so if you aren't where you want to be, you got to do the work. But then also, if you're comfortable, that means that you aren't growing. And when things are uncomfortable for you, that means that you are growing. And so sometimes when I have a decision to make and I feel that it's making me uncomfortable, it's a constant reminder that get uncomfortable, intentionally put yourself in tough situations so that you can grow and elevate and move to the next level. So there have been many times in my life where I had to get uncomfortable. And I can say that my entrepreneurial journey has really been riddled with uncomfortable moments. And one of the biggest things that I had to, or one of the biggest uncomfortable moments was really just putting myself out there. Well, first in fitness, then in media, then in real estate. I started my mortgage brokerage when I was 24 years old. And even that, it was an uncomfortable situation because here it was, I was advising, people 10, 15, 20 years older than me on how to obtain a mortgage at 24, right? And so that was uncomfortable. And so the next step was getting into fitness. Now, I established a six-figure brand in the mortgage brokerage industry. Everybody knew me as the mortgage brokerage guy. And then I literally dissolved the company to pursue fitness. And it was like, what? And so just putting myself out there as the fitness guy was extremely uncomfortable because I wasn't certified when I launched my first business. But I had a passion and a drive, and I wanted to help people because I transformed my body and my life by losing 110 pounds. And so I really wanted to share this and add value to so many people through fitness. And then when I got into media, everybody knew me. I built a six-figure brand in fitness. Everybody knew me as the fitness guy. Getting into media is like, what? This is something else that you're doing? And that was uncomfortable, just putting myself out there, my company out there. And, now everybody knows me as the media guy, or, they know that I'm in media and content creation and branding. And then, a couple of years ago, I decided that I wanted to go into frontline real estate, luxury real estate sales. And so now, just putting myself out there as a luxury estate agent with Cork and C.A. Christie is like, hold on, wait, you are doing a lot. The common thread amongst all of those was that I was very uncomfortable with the idea that people may look at me and what people thought of the things that I was doing. And, it sounds well and good to say, you shouldn't care about what people think, but that was a real thing. Like, I didn't want people to think that I was a jack of all trades and master of none. I really wanted to position myself as a master of all of the trades that I am pursuing. And so that thread of discomfort and just how I have evolved as a business owner, and the businesses that I have worked in have evolved, just battling that is one of the biggest situations where I was uncomfortable, and it's a constant thing. But I can tell you that every business that I've had, even every job that I've had, has really prepared me for where I am now. And so I've gotten over and moved past some of the levels of discomfort. And so now I actively seek things that are going to make me even more uncomfortable in all of the areas that I'm pursuing right now. And so, getting uncomfortable is really a common thread in my life, whether it's by choice or circumstance. But every time I've gotten uncomfortable and I've done the work, I have grown tremendously. People ask me all the time, how do I stay motivated? Because I'm doing a lot. I'm a founder and CEO of the top media company in the Bahamas. I am one of the top luxury estate agents with the top luxury estate firm, real estate firm in the Bahamas. I have a smoking hot fitness model, pro bodybuilder wife. Like, how do I stay motivated to keep going? And I'll be honest, like, motivation isn't really my thing. I don't rely on motivation at all to keep going. Working out, fitness is a big part of my consistency, but I know I have a duty and an obligation to be successful, because it's through my success that somebody else may be inspired. It's through my success that others around me can achieve their success. If I never started on my entrepreneurial journey, I wouldn't be here right now. And so it really boils down for me that I know that I was put here to be great. I know that just from the interactions that I have with the people that know me, I add value to them. And so I have a duty and a responsibility to maximize my potential, because there's somebody out there who's waiting to be inspired by my story. And that's why I do believe that the world needs my greatness. And so that's what really gets me up. Now, you can say whether or not that's motivation, but it isn't. I don't act out of motivation. I act out of a duty to the world, because I know the world needs my greatness. If you're somebody out there who is scared or unsure and is causing you to delay taking action, a couple of things. One, first of all, you want to get clarity. Like, get clarity on what it is that you want to do. And when I say get clarity on what it is that you want to do, if it's in your mind, if it's in your heart, if you have a desire, like, tap into that, right? If you're inspired to do something, tap into that. Because when you move, when you're inspired, great things happen. And if you're scared to move, because you recognize you have clarity and you recognize what it is that you want to do, you know what you're inspired to do, but you're scared to move for whatever reason, do it scared, bro. Like, it's okay to do it scared. I do shit scared all the time. And what I realize is that one of the best ways to counteract fear is preparation. And even though you can't prepare for every scenario, it could be preparing to take the next step and then taking the next step. And so if you can delay, you can minimize the time between when you're inspired to do something and then taking action towards doing it. That does make it a little bit easier, but it's just taking action, man. Like, you will figure it out. You don't have to worry about how you're going to get it done. If you're inspired, come up with a plan and then take action on it. That would be my suggestion. And just do it. Like, if you're scared, it's okay. You ain't going to be not scared. Do it scared. It's okay. It's okay. Now, if you're serious about growing, stop waiting for it to get easy. Lean into the discomfort, because that's where true transformation happens. The life that you want and that you desire is actually on the other side of doing the work consistently. So until next time, get uncomfortable and do the work, because the world needs your greatness. Peace.